Good afternoon. My name is John with the Pine Tree. I have a great pleasure being here with Tim McSorley. Thanks, Tim. He is the executive director of the COG, the Calaveras County Council of Governments, and it's an honor to kind of invade their conference room for a few minutes. And these guys, I have to say, are amazing at finding little piles of money. Well, anyway, not sometimes bigger piles.
A bigger pile in this particular case, yes.
Now, we were talking about the grant they just received for the Valley Springs area. But before we get into that, what's the latest on the little bypass update? Do you have any little? How are they doing time frame?
The Angels Camp bypass.
Yes, the Angels Camp bypass.
There's a number of bypasses
that
seem to get part of the conversation. Actually, we are unofficially about a year ahead of schedule.
Nice.
For those of you that have driven by, you'll notice that there are bridges coming out of the ground.
Yes, there are.
They're forming the abutments on a couple of the others. All of the earthwork is done. In fact, they've even begun putting in some of the permanent topsoil, replacing the topsoil for the erosion control and revegetation of some of those cut and fill slopes. So we're really excited.
I even saw some road base going down yesterday.
Okay, that would be great. And I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't been out there in a week or so, but it is really moving along very well. Officially, Caltrans is still looking at the December 2010 as a completion date.
Right.
But unofficially, I think it's pretty obvious that we're ahead of schedule.
Now, one of the things that's been amazing to me is I know we haven't had a chance to talk in person since they were. I mean, it was almost an orchestra of when they had, the heavy equipment. I mean, it was fascinating to watch. It was just.
We were very fortunate in that we got Tykert, and Tykert is one of the big boys, if you will. And they are in fact orchestrated. It is like a dance with heavy machinery. I was out there one day watching the scrapers move, and I believe that, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe that they were in radio contact because they had them lined up in the various aspects of scooping up the dirt and then laying it down once they got to wherever they left to the fill, taking it from the cuts area to the fill area. So it is very well orchestrated to achieve maximum efficiency. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's been impressive. Now somebody said something to me that it was in some ways it was fortunate for this project that it was a little bit of a down cycle in the economy that we got their A-team, so to speak.
Well, I don't know about the A-team, but certainly in terms of the bid, the engineer's estimate and the allocation from the Transportation Commission was in the neighborhood of $31 million. The project actually came in at about $23, $24 million. So I think that there was the benefit of the economic situation that caused them to come in with a lower bid than expected. So we, as the saying goes, we left $5 or $6 million on the table. So that was also a very good thing.
Oh yeah, very nice. Well, didn't mean to segue away from what we were here today to talk about, but let us know about what you've been doing for the Valley Springs area.
A few months ago, we were approached by some folks in Valley Springs to put together a grant application to Caltrans through what they call the Community-Based Transportation Planning Grant Program.
Right.
And I get those acronyms. Boy, there's a lot of them out there. And so we put together, in collaboration with the County Planning Department, put together obviously a successful grant application that speaks to how we're going to approach Valley Springs planning effort. We take into account landscaping, history, some shared values, sense of place. We also take into account air quality issues, transit-oriented development.
Right.
And quite frankly, it was the community that put together the actual grant application. But they needed a local sponsor, us being the RTPA, or Regional Transportation Planning Agency. We're happy to sponsor the grant application, and yeah, we were successful to the tune of the grant itself was $204,000. I don't recall the exact numbers, but and then the matching funds, which also were contributed by the Council of Governments, to the tune of another $50,000. So
nice.
The total project is about $250,000. Yeah.
Now, what will this enable them? I mean, what's the end game? Where does this go 4 or 5 years out?
Well, it will go a long ways towards contributing to the community plan for the general plan update.
Got it. Okay.
It's going to take on a pretty new look, though, in terms of the previous planning efforts and community plans that we've seen in the county over the past 10 or 15 or 20 years. And that's primarily due to the focused efforts, and you've heard the buzzword smart growth or transit-oriented developments, really an integrated approach to land use, transportation, healthy communities. The bicycle community out there has a buzzword, complete streets, meaning pedestrian, bicycle lanes, proximity of housing to services such as shopping and those kinds of things. So it's
and the Valley Springs area, with the topography being a little flatter, actually lends itself more readily to that than say like an upcountry like an Arnold. I mean, is that?
Yes, that is absolutely true. We're looking at an extensive bicycle and pedestrian pathway system. In fact, we've got another project through another funding program called the Transportation Enhancement Program, where we have at least the preliminary stages of a bikeway that will connect La Contenta with downtown Valley Springs, and then actually even goes up to Hogan Dam Road off of Highway 26. Nice. So we have a number of different projects, and it's just wonderful because they're all seeming to come together at the same time.
Right. Now, will this be, the plan will it be similar to, say, the Arnold plan, the fact that you're looking at some beautifications and building a core center type? I mean, it's, pavement treatments, entry, is similar to that or no?
It can be very similar to that.
Okay.
We haven't convened the steering committee yet.
Got it.
But it really is going to be dictated by the community, what the community thinks that they want out there.
And they're pretty organized down there,
They are very organized, and we are absolutely tickled to death to be able to help them any way we can. So like I mentioned, yes, landscaping,
Sure.
it's a common fact that, trees planted on sidewalks add some ambiance, they add the shade, so there's energy efficiency issues, which is also part of the plan to be able to incorporate green technologies into development and those kinds of things.
Now, what are the groups involved?
Well, it is the run, and I won't say run, but initiated by the MyValleySprings.com folks.
Okay.
They had been working with a nonprofit called Local Government Commission. There is another organization down there that I understand is comprised primarily of business owners, which are somewhat organized to my understanding. Other partners, of course, are the county planning department. But it really is my intent to make sure that it's a good cross-section representation of the community down there.
Nice.
Yeah, there will be agricultural interests, anything that you can think of. In fact, if you can think, and that I haven't, please let me know. And I encourage anyone out there to give us a call.
Do you want us to put a link below the video to sending in suggestions or something?
Perfect.
Like that?
Absolutely.
Right. So look down, and we'll try to put a.
Absolutely. That's one of my mantras, if you will, is that I'm here to help the communities. But they're the ones that are going to tell me what they want.
Right.
I'm not going to try and tell them what they want. They live there. I don't. And if we're going to commit to this, boy, I want to see people there. I want to see people excited. I want to see people energetic. And let's keep moving forward.
Now, what the different projects like this? You finished up the Arnold plan. Now it's ready for the implementation side. I'm assuming. Now, is there a San Andreas function that's similar to that now? Is that?
We have another grant, and it's the same grant program. That project is $100,000, and we will be looking at St. Charles or Highway 49.
Got it.
And very similar types of issues, perceived speeding, and not a very visitor-friendly, pedestrian-friendly environment. So we're looking at some traffic calming measures, pavement treatments, gateway monuments, landscaping, both in the center median perhaps, and looking at access issues so that it's just not a free-for-all in
Control, yeah.
that
Got it.
center left turn lane that's
Yeah.
out there. So it really incorporates a whole variety of issues, all focused, of course, on transportation and land use and how that interaction occurs.
Very nice. Now, I guess I know we're on the Valley Trinity, but a little tone more on the San Andreas one. Is there anything that is unique to county seats? Because sometimes, is there any? Probably not. Maybe not per se, but you know.
Well, I can't answer county seats per se, but
Right.
in our specific situation, you know, people come here. Oftentimes, they've got to pay money to get a permit and that kind of thing. But really what we want to try and do with San Andreas is to make it something that is more attractive, and so that when they come and have to pay money to buy a permit or to secure a permit, perhaps they also might want to stay and have a sandwich or do their banking or...
So you put them in a good mood after...
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, very nice. I mean, it's... you know, on these typical, like the cycles of this type of a project, for example, I know the Arnold one, it was a year or so, and the planning, and you know, now it's to the implementation stage where parts of it can be start rolled into the general plan and that kind of stuff, right? Or is that, is that typical of all of them?
Yeah, actually, the Valley Springs grant was a little bit quicker than we're normally normally experienced, so that's a good thing. But yeah, it's about a year between the time you submit the application and get some notification, and then typically it's another 6 months to a year when the plan is finished. And then you talked about implementation, and what the intent is that we implement this plan in a number of ways. We can do it through additional grant funding for actual construction. We can actually use it to condition development activities. If we have a sidewalk plan, for example, that particular development knows that he needs to, or developer needs to, you know, install sidewalks or bicycle lanes or a bus turnout or some of those kinds of things. So it really helps to try and put you know, the full range of implementation measures in place so that when we have again, funding opportunities or development proposals sitting in front of us, we have some projects that we can have built.
Very nice. Thank you. And I'd like to say thanks again to all the COG, because you know, the COG is one of those organizations that not everybody knows about, but in, you know, kind of behind the scenes in government, all that stuff, they really get stuff done. I mean, because you know, with the Angels Camp bypass specifically, and all these other, I mean, you guys are kind of the container that a lot of these funds have to go through, isn't that, for like these regional, is that, lack of a better...
That's or a conduit, if you want to call it that as well.
Sure. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
And we're happy to help out the community. We're really here to help.
For example, the byway even, right? You guys were instrumental in the conduit for helping getting the byway, the Ebbets Pass.
Ebbets Pass byway,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.